Hey guys, I hope all is well. Thank you for joining me for this Truth Talk episode. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Nickelodeon. But before we begin, I just wanted to kindly ask you guys to subscribe to my second channel, The Truth Is Second Channel. This channel currently has a copyright strike due to the Tupac video I made. I just want to make sure you guys are subscribed to the second channel if anything happens to this one. Thank you all. Now let's get right into it. In the last few months, Nickelodeon has been in the headlines as many of their former child stars have come out and exposed them for what they experienced while working at Nick. Just a few weeks ago, I made a video on Jeanette McCurdy, exposing Nickelodeon for trying to silence her, offering her $300,000 to stay quiet about her time at Nick. Jeanette refused the money and instead has released a book where she speaks about what she experienced over at Nick. Since then, a few other former child stars have decided to follow in Jeanette's footsteps and have chosen to expose Nickelodeon and reveal their experiences working for them. The more these former actors come out and expose Nickelodeon, the more and more obvious it becomes that Nick is not a place suitable nor safe for kids. Time and time again, it appears that Nickelodeon seems to protect the monsters that work there instead of the children that are a part of the shows. This is exactly what this former Zoey 101 star revealed. Alexa Nicholas, who played Nicole on Zoey 101, has come out and boldly stated that working at Nick isn't safe for children. Alexa took her allegations against Nickelodeon to their front door as she organized a protest in front of one of Nickelodeon animation studios where she publicly exposed those who she felt were monsters over at Nickelodeon. In this protest, Alexa brings up several valid concerns, and we're going to go through each one.
Hi everyone, so Eaters is here at Nickelodeon hosting Slime Time Live. So do you want to go down the aisle of slime? So first we have here a trigger warning for Nickelodeon, because Nickelodeon's a trigger warning in general, but also we're about to talk about some deep thoughts, so trigger warning before we begin. And then, so first question here, how many NDAs from Nickelodeon? Because we've been hearing a lot about NDAs in general in these corporate situations, and we're a little bit concerned because how can we as the public help if we don't know what's actually happening in there? So we believe that silence is violence, so we want to know how many NDAs at Nickelodeon, from employees to the cast, etc.
As you heard for yourself, Alexa speaks about Nickelodeon's use of NDAs. This alone should be alarming. Alexa claims that Nickelodeon has a tendency of dishing out NDAs to keep their young stars from talking. Clearly, Nickelodeon is trying to silence these young actors using money and NDAs to keep the sinister truth from the world. Just think to yourself, why would a child's network need to be offering NDAs to kids? In my opinion, this speaks volumes about Nickelodeon, and it shows that they're truly trying to hide what goes on behind the scenes. Alexa makes a great point when she states, how can the public help when the public doesn't know what's going on? I don't understand how offering NDAs to children is even legal. The next thing Alexa talks about is how Nickelodeon tends to protect the monsters that work at Nick instead of the young children.
Protect children, not my own personal experience at Nickelodeon. As you can see here, it says Nickelodeon didn't protect me. I did not feel protected at Nickelodeon as a child personally. And so I'm demanding that Nickelodeon starts protecting children and not the predators. How many predators? That's a heavy question, but we would like an answer to that. How many have been at Nickelodeon? How many kids have suffered within Nickelodeon?
As you heard for yourself, she talks about her personal experience at Nickelodeon, where she states she didn't feel safe working there as a child. She demands that Nick stop protecting the monsters that they hire, something we know is never going to happen. She also asks a very important question that I myself am curious to know. How many monsters do Nickelodeon have working at their network with these young kids? How many more kids were paid to keep quiet about the evil they experienced over at Nick? The next thing Alexa talks about is the alleged biggest monster of them all, Dan Schneider. Alexa claims that while she was working on the set of Zoey 101, Dan and a few other executives brought her to a room alone to yell at her. She claims that they made her cry while she was away from her parents. This just continues to prove that Nickelodeon isn't a suitable place for children to work at. If they're willing to do this to these child actors, I believe they're capable of doing much worse. Alexa also talks about Dan's production company called Schneider's Bakery. She requested an investigation be launched into Dan's production company, as she believes a lot of the footage recorded for Dan's shows were inappropriate and should be looked into. In my opinion, I myself believe there's more disturbing footage hidden away in Dan's possession. Who knows how many children Dan handed out NDAs to? How many times did he use his money to silence the truth? Alexa even states that when she looks at footage from Zoey 101 as a parent, she feels deeply disturbed by it. We see this with a lot of Nickelodeon shows. These children are told to do things for these shows that as children, they might not seem so concerning. But this all changes when you become old enough to understand. Alexa also claims that Dan's lawyers were trying to contact her to meet with her so that they can come up with an agreement. Alexa believes this was another one of Dan's NDAs. This is very concerning to me. Something indeed needs to be done. There should be no reason these adults are out here handing out NDAs to children. In my opinion, this should definitely be illegal. We know many people are willing to just take the money and keep quiet. This is what allows these monsters to continue to harm others.
Dan Schneider, and to me, he is the creator of childhood trauma. He played a huge role in my personal childhood trauma. I did not feel safe around Dan Schneider while I was working at Nickelodeon. Actually, every time he came on set, my body got extremely tense. And later on in season 2, he yelled at me, made me cry in a room actually at Nickelodeon. I'm not sure if it was at Burbank or Nick on Sunset. I think it was Nick on Sunset. But him and a bunch of the executives made me cry in a room alone. And I don't think any child should have to experience anything like that, especially if it's coming from people that are supposed to be looking out for the kids on set. That's deeply concerning to me. So next, investigate Schneider's Bakery. A lot of the footage on Schneider's Bakery TV show are concerning to me as a parent. So I would like Nickelodeon or someone actually external to Nickelodeon, not Nickelodeon, to investigate Schneider's Bakery. There was footage on Zoey 101 alone that when I look back at it now, I'm deeply uncomfortable by it. Even if you say you didn't know or you were just being like, childlike or whatever, I don't believe that, because an adult should know how that could be seen to others, and it puts kids in a vulnerable position, and it's very, very alarming and concerning. So I would like someone to investigate Schneider's Bakery and see what actually was going on in there and how many NDAs from Schneider's Bakery. Schneider's Bakery lawyer actually called me in 2019 asking me to come into a room with Dan Schneider to come up with some type of agreement. And so I'm guessing that was probably an NDA. I'm not fully sure, but it sounded like it. So Schneider's Bakery tried to silence me. So I would like them to investigate.
As you heard for yourself, Alexa felt like Dan was trying to silence her and stop her from revealing the truth about his ways. Alexa continues her protest by exposing the monsters that work at Nickelodeon.
Them to investigate. All right, slime time, trigger warning. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 folks who worked at Nickelodeon around children. One of them here was a production assistant for Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights. He worked at Nickelodeon. He was convicted, trigger warning, child at Nickelodeon. He was in the animation section, but he actually brought over a child to a studio where he sadly child there at Nickelodeon, which is red flag Nickelodeon. Ryan Peck, dialogue coach for all that. He did the comedy boot camp with Dan Schneider. So this is a friend of Dan Schneider, convicted on set, slime. Marty Weiss, child talent manager who'd bring kids to Nickelodeon. Jason Handy, production assistant for The Amanda Show, convicted. We have John here from the Ren and Stimpy show. He was accused of teenagers who looked up to him as a mentor, so slime him as well. All right, so we have Sharon Lieblein. She was the vice president of talent. I have her here as enabler because she was in the room the day that I got verbally abused by Dan Schneider over there. She said to me, "Why are you crying?" and was basically making fun of me at 12 or 13 years old, telling me that it was not called Nicole 101, it was called Zoey 101, and told me that I should just be sucking it up, basically. She also told me that she's the reason I got the show, that I wouldn't have gotten the show if it wasn't for her. So that was a little bit traumatizing in general to hear an adult saying something like that to you. So I have her here as an enabler because she worked close to Dan Schneider, and nobody did anything about that was happening on the set of Zoey 101. I just want to go through this like one more time. Like what we're seeing here is a bunch of professional execs at Nickelodeon who did not protect the children on set. That's what I'm trying to show here today, that children on Nickelodeon were not safe, at least the time when I was on it. I'm not sure if they changed anything, but what's deeply concerning to me is that Nickelodeon still has not given a comment to, for example, Jeanette McCurdy. Even to me, I've come forward multiple times. They've never given me an
As you heard for yourself, Alexa then goes on to name a few of the convicted monsters that Nickelodeon had working over at their network. The first person she calls out is Ezio, who was a production assistant for Nickelodeon and also worked with Adam Sandler in the past. She states that he was convicted of doing something very bad to a child, with it happening at a Nickelodeon studio. If you want to know exactly what he did, just Google his name and you can easily find it. This is very concerning, as how was this man able to do this evil inside of Nickelodeon's building, with no one ever speaking out? The next person she talked about was Brian Peck, who did the same exact thing as Ezio, and is also convicted for it. I have spoken about Brian Peck often on this channel, and I found it strange that he would continue to get work at children networks after his conviction, as he worked at Disney when he was released from prison. She also talks about Marty Weiss, who was the child talent manager, and states that he was also convicted of doing the same as Brian Peck. What makes this even more disturbing was that Marty was in charge of bringing in talent to Nickelodeon. This means he was around these children often. She also talks about Jason Handy, who worked as the production assistant for The Amanda Show. He also did the same exact thing as the rest of the people on this list and was convicted for it. The fact that Nick had so many monsters working for them makes it so hard to believe that Nick didn't know what was going on and it was all just a coincidence. Alexa also mentions the creator of the Ren and Stimpy show, someone that we have already spoken about as well. Alexa makes it clear that Nickelodeon isn't at all safe for children, something that I've said multiple times on this channel. This is why it's important to protect our children. We all saw recently with the Tiffany Haddish situation that children cannot be trusted with those in Hollywood. Time and time again, they take advantage of their power. Recently, another Nickelodeon star, Daniela Monet, has come out after Jeanette McCurdy, exposing Nickelodeon for what she claims was those at Nick making her wear inappropriate outfits for the show, and also making her film a scene where she felt uncomfortable. She claims that Nickelodeon had her film a scene where she was forced to repeatedly put on lip gloss and eat a pickle over and over again for hours. It's clear that Nickelodeon is using these actors to push an agenda to children. There's been many times that Nickelodeon has been guilty of sneaking in scenes into their shows that are very inappropriate for children. Nick has earned the trust of parents around the world, and now we see what they're doing with that trust. We know why these things keep happening, as those in Hollywood have given their souls in order to have the world. There's so much more I wish I could have put in this video, but sadly, it would have violated YouTube community guidelines. Like I always say, we must protect our children from the evils of Hollywood. We must also help those who can't see the truth find the truth. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I just wanted to give a special shout out to the Truth Movement members. I truly appreciate every single one of you. If you'd like to further support the channel, join the Truth Movement, or you can join me on Patreon, where I drop exclusive videos monthly. The link would be in the description. Another way you can further support the channel is by checking out the Truthfist store and seeing if you find anything you like. Every purchase you make helps with the funding of Truth Records. The link to the Truthfist store is also in the description. Also, please leave a comment on your thoughts on this video and on any future topics you would like to see me cover on my channel. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified of future videos. If you like this video, please leave a like, as it helps other people find these videos. You can also find me on TikTok and Instagram and follow me there. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.